So the NPD numbers for November are out, and I'm sure you've already heard the news. Now, the good news is that both consoles, both PS4 and Xbox One, are doing extremely well, especially when you compare them to the sales at this period in time after the release of the PS3 and the 360. They are literally blowing those sales out of the water. So they are well ahead of where their predecessors were, so that's a good sign. The Wii U, not so much. But I've said plenty of times before, the Wii U just isn't cutting it, and I don't think they're going to have some miracle turnaround. And I do hope that Nintendo is already working on their next iteration, because I feel like they're going to need it. So the Xbox One, according to reports, sold 1.2 million in November, which leaves PS4 with approximately 800,000 and Wii U sitting around 200,000. So it was definitely a good month for Microsoft. They basically cut Sony's lead by a quarter in 1 month. Now, many have noted how Sony has outsold Microsoft every month throughout the year. And so people have felt, just based on those headlines, that Sony has built up an insurmountable lead, like in places like the US and others. But a lot of people don't realize just how big sales are in the months of November and December compared to the rest of the year. And also, if you look back at the rest of the year, whenever they did outsell Xbox One, it wasn't like the margins were very large in a lot of those different months. But if you look at what Aaron Greenberg tweeted out just a few weeks ago, he said, more consoles are sold in November and December than the rest of the year combined. So definitely a lot of movement takes place during the fall. And that's also why you have so many publishers trying to get their games in the fall. That's the time where everybody's got their Christmas cards, their Christmas money, they're going out, they're buying things. During the summer months, you know, not so much. People are outside doing other stuff. They're not sitting in front of their consoles. But fall is the time for retail. So while everybody was expecting, once these numbers released, that Microsoft would kind of be shouting from the rooftops that they had won November, Microsoft instead decided to kind of play it cool and didn't really say much at all about winning the month. And I guess they're trying to stay a little classy. They did put out a brief statement, and it was from somebody who you probably haven't even heard of. But they said November set a new record for sales of Xbox One, and Xbox One was the best-selling console in the US and the UK. Response to the holiday lineup of games on Xbox One was incredible, with Xbox One fans buying more games in November in the US than any other Gen 8 platform. So they're saying not only did they sell the most consoles, but they also sold the most games. Now, Sony did put out their own statement. They said PS4 is the cumulative leader in hardware sales and was #1 on the Amazon video game bestseller list on Black Friday. Which, honestly, I thought was a little strange of a statement, because, I mean, even if Microsoft came out and they would have said, you know, we were the #1 selling console for Target or Walmart, you know, that would have also been weird to me. But again, regardless of who, quote, won November, both are doing extremely well, and unless you're a shareholder, sales probably don't mean much to you aside from the entertainment value. But one thing that I've seen over and over and over is there are a lot of people going around repeating the same things, saying, you know, November was given to Microsoft basically because they bought it. They were basically giving away the consoles. Microsoft is bleeding money. Oh, they're showing desperation. There's no way they're going to turn a profit, blah, 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 blah. So at first it was Microsoft is so greedy. And now the argument is Microsoft is so giving. Microsoft is so charitable. They're basically giving these things away. So, you know, it's like they can't win either way, but it's pretty entertaining to see how the spin cycle works. Microsoft is playing chess. They're not playing checkers. Do you honestly believe that the executives don't know that Xbox is on sale? The leaders of a multi-billion-dollar corporation don't know what they're doing and don't understand how to make money in the long term? You know, we've got a lot of gamers who focus on the right now. You know, they're incapable almost of thinking long term. They live in that next 30-second period window, and they just have knee-jerk reactions to everything. But as Greenberg stated, more sales happen in November and December than the rest of the year combined. And if you look back at statements shortly after E3, there were a lot of people alluding to the fact that Xbox was going to have a huge sale. Michael Pachter was one of them. He said, wait before buying an Xbox. He said that back, I forgot what month it was, but it was a long time ago. He said, don't buy one yet because Microsoft is going to have some aggressive campaigns coming up. So this wasn't something like they jumped up in the middle of the night one October evening and said, hey, we better put our console on sale next month. So this is something that's been planned out for a long period of time. But here is a fact, and this goes for pretty much any electronic. There is little to no profit margin in selling hardware, period. PlayStation is not making a living off of selling PS4 consoles. Microsoft couldn't make a living selling just Xbox One consoles. But they need to sell you that hardware to get it into your home to sell you everything else that they do make a large profit margin on. And so by slashing the prices and getting more hardware into people's homes, they have a lot more opportunities to sell things like subscription services, like software and video games and movies and music and everything else that you can do on these consoles, which actually generates a lot of money for both Sony and Microsoft. That is where the money comes into. So for all these people freaking out because Microsoft put their console on sale and they feel like, you know, they're totally going to dry up Microsoft's bank, I assure you that Microsoft isn't as worried about their profits as you are. And by doing this now, early on in the life of the console, you're setting yourself up for the long-term game. And if this cycle lasts, 5 or 7 or 10 years, which has been, put out there as a number, that is a long time to make back the money that you subsidized early on for the consoles. And also, just because something goes on sale doesn't mean that people rush out to buy it simply because it's on sale. People have to invest money, and even if it is on sale, it's still over $300. That's still a lot of money to a lot of people. People are only going to invest money into a product that they're interested in. And Xbox obviously released a product that a lot of people are interested in. And then they saw a good deal, which allowed them to pull the trigger maybe a little bit earlier than what they were going to. So you've got a lot more consoles in homes. But for all the armchair executives out there who are concerned about Microsoft's cash pile drying up, I mean, aren't these the same people who were also saying that Xbox One was done right after the reveal at E3? Yeah, that street credibility just keeps on getting better and better. Sure looks like you can stick a fork in it. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.